buddy?
Hi, guys. Well, from the smoke-filled air of Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Dan.
And coming up on today's show, dental hygiene.
That's right. TGIA tackles flossing.
Woo!
Yeah. We're gonna...
You have a different angle. You haven't heard this one.
You all saw the news, so we don't need to tease it too much. But yes, we're going to talk about it in a way... Flossing.
Yep.
Do you need to floss? Frank, do you need to floss right now?
I ate some popcorn last night.
Oh, flossing. It's the only way. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. We'll find a way to make it relevant to our show. We'll work on it. We'll figure it out by the time we get there. Don't worry about it.
Surely. All right, Dan.
Yes, sir.
There's a big old Pentecostal-ish type church in Sweden.
Oh, wow.
And they have a big old plan
Okay.
to use drones to drop thousands of Bibles in ISIS-controlled Iraq.
Brilliant! This is perfect. And I'll tell you why it's perfect. It will absolutely, almost certainly have the effect that they want.
Well, the effect they want is, according to this article, the church's mission director, Christian Ackerholm, told Swedish broadcaster SVT that the Bibles are the size of little pill boxes, and they have a display. They require no electricity but work on their own. I don't understand. It's a miracle.
It's a miracle of modern technology.
And but this is their hope here, right? Our ambition is to pass on the hope and love of the Christian gospel to a population living in closed areas where they are being denied human rights. Yeah, let's drop with absolutely no context.
Right.
Let's drop our ancient awful thing onto a region that's being run by an ancient awful set of beliefs.
I don't think these people have read their own book. Because if you read that book, A, theologically, it's basically indistinguishable from the Quran.
Right.
B, it's horrific. Yeah. Like unto the Quran. You're not going to do anything. You achieve a way, here's what they achieve. They achieve a bunch of people who are like, I'm going to support that. And I'm going to use redneck American voice. Assuming that it translates to redneck Swedish voice. But yeah, they're going to be like, I'm going to use I'm going to give them money so that they can give them heathens some good news. And then, of course, the church pays, keeps a chunk of that for themselves. And then does the rest, and then does the drone thing.
Well, you have overhead. You have to pay for it.
Right, exactly.
There are costs involved in these things, people.
Right.
So the name of the church is Livets Ord. That means word of life. It's in Uppsala, wherever that is.
Sure. Been there many times. Uppsala.
The Swedish press has called the church, or is accused of being like a cult.
Okay.
They're highly suspicious of this church. As if this is truly Pentecostal-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bet Sweden is really concerned about this in their own backyard.
Yeah, for all of our international listeners, and we have plenty of them, if some new church moves into your town and they strike you as kind of American in nature,
run.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
And also, if this happens, the church's founders, Ulf and Brigitte Ekman, converted to Catholicism in 2014 and left the church. The founders.
Oh.
Left.
That'll happen.
And converted to Catholicism.
Yeah, that won't happen. That's the weird thing.
How does that work? You leave a functioning, thriving religious community behind that you founded.
They were probably forced out.
And then it's possible.
They got miscavaged.
Is that what happened?
No, I don't know what happened with that.
Anyway,
I just wanted to...
I just think that's fascinating.
Nutty.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I'd go. Yeah, it's great. Spend a lot of money dropping a stupid book.
Little e-Bibles.
Like literally, if you don't have a guy there, like, trying to interpret this book in a way that makes any kind of sense,
it's not going to work.
It's not going to do anything. That book means nothing. It's the worst.
It's just one big mess.
I would love to get the response of some, like, if you could find in this whole world someone who's never been exposed to Christianity but has been educated, which you can't find. But if you could find that person, I would love to hear an explication of the Bible from just virgin eyes, like from someone who has no knowledge of Christianity or whatever, and just be like, what do you think?
Well, I would want them to design up the church, the religion that they think
is outlined.
Follows that book.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what are the features of this? What are its practices?
Right. What are the main questions of this book? What are the main answers?
Yeah.
Like, what's most important to this religion?
Yeah.
Based on this book. I think
Guaranteed they wouldn't come up with modern Christianity.
I think modern Christians would be horrified.
It's actually an interesting
It's a
proposal.
fascinating experiment. And if someone has a shit ton of time and a background in that sort
Reverse anthropology.
Yeah, exactly. We'd love to see it. Go ahead. That's a fascinating master's thesis for somebody to do.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to take us to the bridges of Madison County. Not Madison County, Iowa, though, but Madison County, North Carolina.
Oh.
Where somebody noticed that the schools, the logo of the Madison County schools.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I'm going to first say, you and I appreciate good design.
Yeah.
This does not have that. This is
Okay.
terrible.
All right.
So here's what I want you to picture.
Okay.
A big serif M in the middle.
Uh-huh.
Probably like a Times New Roman sort of capital M.
I can see it. Uh-huh.
And then like draw a big blue circle around that.
Okay.
And at the top of that, write unity on the edge of the circle, and at the bottom write teamwork. And then a red square within the circle.
Okay.
And that says mentally, socially, spiritually, physically.
Okay.
And then a green triangle within that.
Okay.
And that says on the bottom, family and job. And at the top, God.
Of course.
And
let me see it. Let me see if I imagined.
if you imagined
what
it
you
correctly.
described. Yeah, because that was not exactly, but yeah,
Pretty close.
that's horrifying.
It's a terrible. Just graphically, it's horrific.
Yeah.
Graphically, it's the worst thing you've ever seen in your life. However, the point of contention that the FUFRF is taking, of course, has to do with that G word.
God.
And of course, it's not okay to have that there. The reason I'm bringing it up, the FUFRF has sent them several letters that have been basically ignored, that point out to them to the Madison County schools. You can't do that. You can't have God on the thing.
Right.
Superintendent Ronald Wilcox at some point told a local newspaper that it, quote, just sums up the culture here and what we believe.
What he believes.
Yeah, exactly.
What probably most everyone in their community believes.
But
is it everyone?
Right, exactly. And
That's the question.
The question for me is like, and if you lived in a majority Muslim community, would you be okay with Allah being at the top of the thing? It sums up what they believe, what the community believes.
Yeah.
Would that be okay with you? Well, then shut the hell up.
Yeah, but they wouldn't live there. They
Well-
wouldn't live where Allah is king.
Right, yeah, exactly. So anyway, the FUFRF is now, this is why I bring it up, seeking students or parents in that district who might object to the logo.
Oh, yeah. So
They're not really saying why.
Well,
but it's clearly because they need A plaintiff.
Yes.
So, I'm putting the call out. Do you live in Madison County,
spread the word.
North Carolina?
Somebody knows somebody.
Do you have a student?
Yeah.
Are you willing to endure horrible public ridicule and outcastness? Then stand up for your beliefs.
Well, I just have a problem in, like, I mean, like a lot of seals or logos, they will put, like, these value words up on them, and that's fine, right? You need to narrow it down just a little bit.
Yeah, you got too many words.
They've got, like, 10 different, like, value words on there?
9, yeah.
9. That's a problem.
It's not okay. You got too many.
And it, with all that geometry going on somewhere there, you're summoning some kind of demon that you don't even know who it is.
That's what we should do. Let's start a campaign that says that summons a demon. The Satanic Temple needs to make that square, like triangle within a square within a circle, needs to be like, that's how we summon Skirban, the demon of bad education.
Yes. Yes. That would do it.
Oh, that's funny.
That's what you want.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay, Dan.
Yes?
We all know that there are a lot of Muslims in France. Right?
Muslims.
Muslims.
I don't take kindly to them.
Well, a group of Muslim women are getting together, and they've bought out a water park for a day in September, and they are hosting a burkini day for Muslim women, no men allowed.
Okay.
To have their own modest fun day at the water park.
Oh, my God. Now, wait a minute. If it's no men allowed, can't they just wear non-burkinis? Can't they wear an actual bikini?
There's a certain amount of covering that is just required.
Even among just women?
My guess is yes. Because they're... I mean, I don't know. You raise the perfect point, Dan. There will be, however, staff from the water park.
Right, of course.
And there will be men on as lifeguards.
Ruining everything.
Those will be the only men around.
Right.
So maybe they're being...
No, there will be some Muslim men with binoculars.
Lurking.
From outside the park, just sort of, oh, yeah. Oh, take some of it off, baby. Take one of the things off. Oh, I can almost...
Did you see her wrists?
Ankle. I totally see ankle. Oh.
Yeah. Creeping out over ankles. The group's name is Smile 13. Don't know why that's the thing.
That sounds spooky.
Smile.
I don't know.
It's 13.
Like, in your life, you get 15 of them.
Right.
This is number 13.
Yeah. And... So, the French,
the
French right, I'll be fair here,
right?
They don't like this.
The fuck?
They're all up in arms. They're saying that these women are, this Islamist day demonstrates that outside of the comforting words of Muslim authorities, a certain number of Muslims are deciding among themselves to break away from our Republican model and put themselves outside our society. That was Stéphane Ravière, who's a mayor of 2 Marseille districts, which is where the water park is.
Wow.
But also, let's just say this person is a member of the far-right Front National. And another person from the far right took to Twitter, Valerie Boyer, a mayor of, I guess also a mayor of some Marseille districts.
Oh, really?
Says on Twitter, sectarian claims in a water park to say nothing and do nothing is to become an accomplice.
An accomplice to people enjoying themselves in private.
Come on, folks.
I mean, honestly,
any group should be allowed to buy out a water park.
If they can't just, like, I'm guessing these are ladies that sort of, you can't go a month without somebody giving them a little bit of shit. because they walk around in their hijabs and they walk, Now, Marseille is a very, when I've been in Marseille, there are lots of Muslims there. It's a very heavily Muslim, because it's right on the southern coast, which means that it's just across the water from, Middle East, from northern African countries.
Yeah,
That's, and I got news for you, France. When you colonize another part of the world, you don't get to, you broke it, you bought it. That's part of what happens. You get a whole bunch of brown folks coming to your country.
That's not their attitude. Let me tell you.
It's not their attitude, and it's bullshit. I love that these guys are saying they're separating themselves from our culture. So what we should do is separate them from our culture. Mm-hmm. The solution here is for us to make sure that they feel very, very, very alienated.
Yeah.
All right. Well, from Marseille, I'll take a little jaunt over to Rome. Or the country encased in Rome.
Oh.
Where this Pope Frank fella, named after you, Francis, he has done something interesting, and ish.
Okay.
He's started a commission to check to look into the possibility of ordaining women to the deaconry, to deaconship, deaconhood.
No.
Deaconry.
No.
Yes, that's
you can hear the cries now.
Yes, that's right.
No.
It's horrific. I saw one tweet that was like a 12 months, like some sort, a long commission to study whether women can dunk babies in water. Because that is one of the things. Deacons can actually perform a lot of the same functions as priests.
Oh, really?
They can preach. They can celebrate marriages.
Really?
They can lead funeral services.
No.
They can even run parishes.
What?
The only thing they can't do, they can't hear confessions, and they can't consecrate the Eucharist.
And they have a very limited supply of young boys.
Oh. Yeah.
Honestly, it's not the same.
No, which is why it might
the
work.
Ratio,
which is why it might work to have women do it, because it's so much fewer. Now, currently, the only people who can be deacons are married or celibate men over the age of 35.
Jesus Christ.
Celibate men over 35.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Everyone be very afraid of celibate men over the age of 35. I have not. Look, if you're asexual, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be horrific, but come on. Especially if they want to go into the priesthood, there's just problems. Celibacy is just problematic. That's all I'm going to say. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm going to get a letter. That's okay.
Yeah. You just pissed someone off, Dan.
Well, and maybe rightfully, maybe I should get a letter. Maybe that's fine. But yes, that's so deacon. Maybe that doesn't mean we'll be seeing women deacons anytime soon.
No, they're just looking at the issue.
They're looking at the issue, but that's an interesting step in a church that's had no looking at the issue for millennia. Mm-hmm. That's a step. It's a thing.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Pope Francis, he is a man of his word. He said he was going to look into it,
and he's
looking into it.
Yeah,
wow.
He doesn't have to do anything with it, but he's looking the hell into it. Oh boy, he's the lookingest pope of all.
Yeah. It's amazing. So I'm going to ask you a question, Dan.
Okay.
Do you think these two guys look alike?
You're showing me a picture.
One of them's Josh Duggar.
Okay.
The other one is his online persona.
Oh?
Or at least it's the guy whose pictures he took to post on Ashley Madison, OkCupid, and so forth.
So wait, is it not him? He's using another guy?
No. Or so, he went online. He searched, apparently, according to him, he typed in random guy into Google, and this was the third guy who came up, and he's a more attractive version, less puffy face.
Yeah, he's got
not quite the receding hairline,
better chin line,
higher cheekbones.
Sure.
You know,
he's a better looking fellow,
looking guy.
But there's a similarity there.
There's a similarity. Like if Josh Duggar showed up to your whatever you've arranged, the horror of whatever arrangement you've made with Josh Duggar,
right?
But
any arrangement with Josh Duggar is a horrific arrangement.
Right. And if we need to remind our listeners, Josh Duggar in 2015 confessed to molesting 5 girls, including his sisters, Jill and Jessa Duggar. Just a few months after that, he admitted to cheating on his wife using Ashley Madison's adultery service. If you'll recall, that's what Ashley Madison was about.
Yeah, Ashley Madison it's an adultery website.
Yes. This was not, hey, let's date.
And Josh Duggar, also to remind everyone, is one of the Duggars of the TV show 1,000 Children and Counting
on TLC.
He's one of the kids of that, and a very was, until certain things came to light, a very prominent evangelical Christian spouting all of this.
Indeed. Well, he's been having a little bit of a resurgence lately. I guess he's been working on building back a little bit of a following.
Well, what he's been working on is smarter, like web presences.
Yes. Well, now, the reason that this is all coming up, because this is actually, this picture's been around.
Okay.
People have known who this kid is. His name is Matthew McCarthy. But he's suing Josh Duggar because he's been getting a lot of bad negative attention.
Yeah.
It actually... a lot of people, he's a DJ in LA.
Oh, no.
And he actually has lost at least one gig to the fact that he was wrapped up in some sort of sex scandal involving Josh Duggar, and people don't even want to think about the implications. And so he has been harassed with nicknames like DJ Duggar and Duggar's Boy Toy. So people are making that the sex scandal.
Right.
That he and Duggar had something, which again, the thought of and the horror of that.
I just love that his picture came up in the random guy picture search.
Did you type it in?
I just did that. He didn't come up this time.
Probably not anymore.
But look at all
those are random guys.
Random guys.
Boy, those are some random faces.
There's a couple that are... Yeah, exactly. It's a fascinating search. Why you would do that web search instead of like any number of other things?
A lot of descriptors. I would, if I were trying to find a picture that I could conceivably argue my way to
pass
say,
off as
that's me. I've just gained 15 pounds.
Right, exactly.
Then, right. Or it was last year. I was much better looking last year.
Yeah, exactly.
For some reason. Yeah, I would put in a different set of criteria. Like maybe hair color, and age, and Caucasian, and
I just typed man. I just did a search for man, and it did a better search than random guy. Of course, most of them are like stock photos, but
right.
You know, the occasional, clearly, and
why?
What do you call it? A mugshot.
Oh,
there you go.
Mugshot.
Yeah.
Well, you know, actually buying a stock photo would have been less problematic for Josh Duggar than just using a real person's photo.
Right. You can't get sued if you use if you pay for the stock photo.
Yeah. The person signed up for it. They're glad they got the work.
Oh my God.
So that's going on. I love that he's being sued over it. And I think that it's absolutely appropriate for the guy to be suing him.
Yeah. That's funny.
So it's unspecified damages for the wrongful use of
his image.
Yeah. Got cut off.
I would sue him. I'd sue him for the pleasure of suing Josh Duggar.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
I wouldn't even care if I got money. I would just be like, oh, this is good. I got him.
Well, and let's face it, Matthew McCarthy's getting some press.
Hell yeah.
And now people know that he goes by DJ Duggar and that he can be hired to play at your
if you're in the Los Angeles
wedding
area,
or bar mitzvah.
DJ I don't think that's going to fly. But do hire him for your extramarital assignations for sure.
Indeed.
He's perfect.
Well, he's a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want him showing up, knocking at your door at 3 a.m.?
Right. Although, what would be ironic is if he actually started using the term DJ Duggar and then the Duggars sued him back.
No.
That'd be pretty funny.
That would be funny.
So we never actually discussed this. A couple weeks ago, there was an announcement made by one of my favorite and our favorite organizations, the Satanic Temple.
Okay.
Which was that they were going to start an after-school program called After School Satan.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's a delightful little program that they've put together, and it's largely in response to the fact that there's a bunch of
Teens for Christ. And whatnot.
yeah. There's a bunch of after-school Christian programs, and they basically they do this thing. The Liberty Council the Christian. I'm trying to think what the group is that does this. There's a specific group that does these after school Christian programs, the Good News program or whatever it is. Yeah. And it's bullshit, and it's legal. It's totally legal because but the thing that makes it legal, because these happen on school grounds. Right. Is that the schools open themselves up to anybody. Right. But it's problematic. People may not see what the problem is. The problem is that then the kids start associating Jesus with their public school education. And that can be problematic because obviously the public schools are not teaching and must not be teaching Christianity. Right. So the Satanic Temple solution, as always, is just to say, us too. And they've started this program. It's amazing. It's actually quite a delightful little program. They of course
it is. I'm sure it's charming, and there's nothing objectionable about it. No, except for its name, which is the pretense of the whole thing.
The name is After School Satan. Yeah, and that's that's enough. Yeah, and they know that that's enough. Like the whole idea, and they started one here in Utah. Yeah, because there was a thing. So all they do is they target schools that have these after-school Christian groups, and then they go in there, and literally the curriculum is just they focus on the development of reasoning and social skills.
Yeah, okay.
Meetings will include a healthful snack, literature lesson, creative learning activities, a science lesson, puzzle solving, and an art project.
That's fantastic.
It's perfect. Yeah. It's great. I would send my kids to it in a heartbeat if I had any little bastards running around my house.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that's designed to be a good thing that terrifies the Christians. Oh. And of course, the Liberty Council, which is a Christian group, has responded with they have a letter letter. Oh yes. And so here's what they're saying, that the Satanic Temple hates Christianity and seeks to force permissible expressions of Christian belief from the public sphere through various publicity stunts and antics.
Yeah. They nailed it.
Right. Well,
exactly what they're doing.
They don't hate Christianity necessarily. They
hate the status that it's
right. They hate privilege. Yeah. That Christianity enjoys. And they either want it to stop being in the public sphere in an inappropriate way, or you just got to share. Those are your choices.
Yeah, indeed.
And since Muslims already have it bad enough and don't really want to rock too many boats necessarily, it's left to the Satanists. So I love it. I just adore it. It's so funny. And if you have kids, please, seriously, if After School Satan pops up in your area, send your kids to it. It'll be great if it actually flies. Yeah. If it actually goes through.
Yeah.
I feel like that's, what a fantastic after-school program.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will be.
Yeah. As long as the kids know.
Oh, my God, they're fucking geniuses.
As long as the kids are in on the joke.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Dan, it's not literally. They don't try and indoctrinate kids into Satanism. They don't try to indoctrinate them even into atheism. They do nothing. They don't even talk about that stuff.
Okay.
They just have a little fun educational thing and use the word Satan. That's all they do. They're really careful about it.
That's amazing.
It's so great.
That's fantastic.
Anyway, well, if you guys have anything that you'd like to chat with us about, if you have complaints about all of the stupid things that we say every week, please write to us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And while you're on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge. It's a closed group, so you have to request to join.
Right.
And then at some point in the future, you'll be let in.
Yeah.
And then it's amazing.
And then it's great. And sometimes I'm there. It's very funny because apparently my absence was noted. I've been on vacation, and then I was out of town for non-vacation purposes. But oh no, Dan. There were troubles.
What will we do without Dan?
And what will we do without me? Jeez, people. Take care of yourselves.
Where's Dad?
Please don't bother me when I'm gone. Baby, though our friendship ceases from now on. And listen, if you can't say anything real nice.
All right, we're going to play a little audio clip for you.
Oh, we always, this one's, I don't know if this will have the same effect on you folks, but here's the thing. This one made me wildly uncomfortable because, well, we'll just leave it at that, and I'll tell you why afterwards.
It's Glenn Beck, folks.
It's Glenn Beck.
And he's just talking.
I'm sorry, I know a lot of people like God's not dead. I didn't. I don't think I've ever said this on the air. I walked out of it. And here's why I walked out of it. I was sitting with my daughter, Hannah, and I said, let's go see God's Not Dead. About 40 minutes into it, I looked at her and I said, can we go? And she said, oh, Dad, I've been praying you would say that. And here's why. We talked about it on the way. What they did was they made atheists and
they demonized them.
They demonized them. They did to them what we do, what happens to us. We're better than that. And
they were all one-dimensional people.
One-dimensional people. It might feel good to have a movie come out where we get to slap people all across the face, but that's not helpful. That's not helpful. And that's not the way to change people's minds, because as the Democrats know, change people's hearts. Their minds really don't matter.
That part I don't understand. He's claiming that somehow the Democrats and not the Republicans, they don't work on your brain.
Yeah.
They just try for your heart.
Just the heart, Dan.
Yeah, because what we've seen from the Republican side, especially in this election cycle, is a lot of really brainy stuff.
I know.
Just really super brainy. Definitely not shooting straight for the heart.
He's no fan of
Donald.
Senor Trump.
Of the Donald.
So,
yeah. What made me uncomfortable about this clip is how much I was agreeing with Glenn Beck.
Yeah,
that's not a comfortable feeling. I'm not happy in that space.
It is interesting though that he's like, I don't like that they're painting the atheists as like one-dimensional characters. Yeah, did you watch the rest of the movie? Because the Christians are one-dimensional characters too. It was a shitty movie. It was poorly written all around.
Right.
It's just you find the Christians, Mr. Beck, to be more sympathetic.
Right.
So you didn't even notice how poorly written those characters were too.
But he did notice that they were unnecessarily demonizing all atheists, and that's amazing.
That's a great thing, especially from Crazy Man McBeck.
Town.
McBeck.
It's funny. There's a local show that happens every year, a local theatrical show called Saturday's Voyeur. It's based on the Mormon play / film Saturday's Warrior, which is a very, very Mormon thing. It's very goofy. If you want to hear about it, you can actually. I kind of recommend listening to the God Awful Movies podcast. Did that one?
Oh, really?
And it's very funny to hear them like not knowing what the fuck it is that they were watching. Because it's like... Anyway, but Saturday's Voyeur, which is the one that's sort of the very liberal, very much sort of the anti-Mormon establishment play. They do it every year. It's a big musical. You can bring, you can bring a picnic dinner to it and all the wine you can drink and just sort of really enjoy yourself. But I don't always enjoy it because many years it seemed to me far too mean-spirited and far too anti one thing, and like no look back at the self. Like no, they would never take on a Democrat who's doing something stupid or a non-Mormon who's doing something stupid. Right. They basically just some years it's a funny, fun, playful lampoon, and other years it just feels mean and ill-spirited. And so, when you see that, it's not fun.
No.
It's not
But I bet
fun.
everybody was laughing.
Oh, well,
having a grand old
you
time.
get enough wine into people, they'll laugh. I mean, and the other thing is that, when you're part of a minority in a group of people that, like, control everything.
Right.
In the state of Utah, the Mormons control everything.
Yeah.
Our laws are passed by, like, our liquor laws are controlled by Mormons. If
So they don't make any sense.
They'd make zero sense.
Yeah.
It's
the
just
contradictions within them are amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's I get needing that outlet, needing an outlet that says, we are oppressed a little bit, and we want to be able to make fun of the people who are oppressing us. Now, Christians are not oppressed in this country, and they still feel the same need because they're
persecuted.
Their narrative is that they are persecuted. It's so hard. You guys, it's so hard to be a Christian. I don't know if you know this.
Well, it is hard to be a Christian, but not for the reasons that they think
Well, yeah.
or are willing to admit.
Look,
It's hard to be a Christian because Christianity sucks,
here's the thing. I couldn't do it.
right?
All right. Well, we had some lovely people write into us and some
Indeed.
callers in as well.
We did.
I'm going to start with an unsigned missive from somebody out in the universe who said, I stumbled upon your podcast and listened to the July 11th episode, which was about Noah's Ark. Not once have I ever heard Ken Ham, Ray Comfort, William Lane Craig, Matt Slick, or the Hovind clan, or any of the apologists even get their own doctrine correct. Not a single apologist has addressed this issue to my knowledge. Not one. And this is fascinating. I had to look this up to make sure that this person wasn't a crackpot.
Okay.
Here's what they say.
Okay.
They spend so much time trying to justify how it was, quote, possible to get two of each animal on the ark, that they either intentionally or through ignorance overlook what their own book says on the matter. In Genesis 7, verses 2 and 3, it clearly commands that 7 pairs of every clean animal and every kind of bird be taken on the ark. It's only 1 pair from each unclean animal.
Oh.
That's 14 of every clean animal and 14 of every bird and 2 of every uncleaned animal.
And there aren't that many unclean, are there?
No.
There's like 5 or 6?
No, there's there are
cloven hooves.
and this person says there are way more clean animals than unclean animals. Yeah, it's like pigs are unclean.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you have cloven hooves, like maybe that's an unclean animal, but like the vast majority of animals are clean.
Yeah.
7 pairs. I had to look it up. I was like, that can't be right. That can't be. No, it's totally right.
No way.
He had to take 7 pairs. That's nutballs. So there you go, Ken Ham.
You needed the genetic diversity.
Well,
when resetting up those populations.
I feel like 7. 7 pairs. Yeah, 1 pair is obviously ridiculous, but 7 pairs.
7 pair, that'll work.
You got a gene pool right there, my friend.
Go.
There you go.
See how smart God is? He knows how genetics works.
Right. Yeah, boom.
They're not even giving him credit for that.
Right. So
it does cause a space problem.
Of course, does it mean that the unclean animals are now even uncleaner? Because there's only the limited gene pool? And also, I will point out, that means that for the clean animals, there is a more vast gene pool than there was left for humans.
Oh. That's interesting.
So I guess
there should have been 7 pairs of first couples.
Right.
Yeah.
It does seem like that would be the case.
Maybe there were.
And then this person, whoever wrote in said, to be fair, I've never heard any Christian debaters bring up the point either. I've always wondered why Dillahunty, Hitchens, Dawkins, Shermer, and the rest don't use this point to force the apologist's hand in justifying a ridiculous story. I wonder about that too. I don't listen to all of the debates. I don't know, but I'm sure somebody's thought of it. But I was just like,
the ship has to be even bigger.
Yeah.
Tighter living quarters.
That's
more poop to deal with.
Yeah, exactly. 7 times the
more
poop.
Food.
All those birds.
Well, did they eat? Well, the clean animals, they had to eat them. That's why they had 7 pair.
Maybe.
It was for food.
Right. Yeah, boom. There you go. Food problem solved.
Yeah.
Other problems, still problems.
Yeah.
But, man.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
Very good.
Because even if they did eat them as food, that doesn't solve the space problem at the beginning. That only solves the space problem as you move through the year's trek.
Yeah.
Space, the final frontier of Noah. All right. What else you got?
Well, here's a caller who's responding to something we talked about, I think, on last week's show.
Oh, okay.
Having to do with Hawaii and the Polynesian Cultural Center. I'm just going to let him take it away.
Hi, Dan. Hi, Frank. This is Scott from Illinois. I was calling. I just was listening to your episode about the Polynesian Cultural Center and had a little input. My senior year of college, I did a short May term class in Hawaii. One of the things that we did is visited the PCC. At the time, I was an atheist, but I had no knowledge of Mormonism. And, looking back at it now, I actually find it incredibly disturbing. At the time, I remember we had to write a small paper about it, and I remember calling it a people zoo and being really put off by this idea of one of the guys talking about how amazing it was that basically the Mormons had pulled him out of his savagery and given him an education, and all he has to do is put his culture on display. You guys hit it pretty much right on the head with, like, the idea of the 50s understanding of culture. It's, there's nothing really real about it. Other than, the fact that the people are supposedly from the actual islands. And then another interesting thing, kind of a thought on my part, you talked about kind of the influx of Hawaiian Mormons, and I think the history of Hawaii might have a lot to do with that. Initially, the Hawaiians were basically savagely abused by sugar plantation owners, and when, the Hawaiians would no longer work, they started bringing other populations, and of all of the minority populations on Hawaii, especially Oahu, the Hawaiians are actually one of the most marginalized. And so a lot of their, Christianity probably left a really bad taste in their mouth. So the idea that, there's a branch of Christianity, which is what they've been taught, but one that's a little less mainstream and offers some interesting things to them, I think is probably part of why there is such a big contingent of Hawaiian Mormons. Just some interesting thoughts. I just found it really interesting that you would bring that up and that your guys' views on that were the same as mine. I just remember my class being, the stereotypical, like, white person clapping at these, savage natives kind of doing their thing and thinking, oh, it's so authentic. And me, initially feeling that way, but then being really put off. So, love the show. Thank you guys for keeping it up. And, we look forward to the next episode. Thank you.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's, People Zoo. That's exactly what you're looking at.
It's a horrifying thought.
That's a great phrase.
Well.
I've been to a number of people zoos. They're scary.
Yeah? What were yours?
Well, the PCC is kind of chief among them.
What's disturbing about that is that it's it's an outside group. It's the Mormon Church,
right?
That set the whole thing up and said, "Oh, hey, look at them, look at them," and that is a people zoo. But what about because I know like the Cherokee Nation, right, at their headquarters, they have like a living history
Sure.
thing. They have a little Cherokee village, right? And they have, people out there demonstrating basket weaving and this and that. And it's definitely a people zoo.
Right. When it's their own thing.
But they're putting their own selves on display. And I think it's really nice.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely, that can be nice. I'll tell you what, when I went I was in Virginia, and we went to this historical triangle of Williamsburg, Colonial Williamsburg, and what is it, Jamestown? And anyway, so there are like live actors acting out the various roles and whatever.
It's fun.
They definitely didn't have any Native Americans to play the Native Americans, so white guys, hasty white, chubby guys in their 50s, and middle-aged, horrifically pasty men in like deerskin, like one shoulder outfits and moccasins.
This I have a problem with.
Showing us how they made canoes and how they made their huts and whatever. I'm sure that they went out of their way to be very authentic in the hut making. Mm-hmm. Not okay. It did not feel okay to me. First of all, Gerald, take off your glasses. Like, none of it feels right. None of it feels okay.
Well, what do they call it in the theater, where you have it's just like race neutral,
like
casting.
colorblind casting or whatever.
Yeah. Isn't that what they were doing?
That works better the other way. That works better when it's people of color playing white folks. That's more okay. No, there was actually an article. I'm going to get off track a little bit here, but there was an article of all places, the Provo, Utah newspaper,
The Herald.
Yeah. Of a theater guy saying, we need to stop with the whole like white people playing, the King of Siam in the King and I, and white people playing, what's her name in South Pacific, the Pacific Islander lady, who like sings the happy talk, keep a talking, happy talk. It's, first of all, both of those shows are shows that in their time were anti-racist, right, but now are clearly just racist. Like, the shows have plenty of racism in them, right, even though they're purported to be anti-racism.
Right.
But yeah, we need to stop having white people playing all of these people of color. And, I had a friend who was like, yeah, but this is Utah. We don't have enough people of color we don't have enough Asian actors to do King and I. And I was like, great.
Then don't do it.
Don't do King and I. You're done. That show doesn't happen until
do Oklahoma.
Right.
Because you got plenty of white people.
You'll be fine. You just can't do that.
Yeah.
And I was in the King and I as a kid. I played a little Siamese child.
You did?
Yeah. Dyed my hair black.
Did you like some eye makeup?
Did something with my eyes. Not sure what. I mean, I was 8. Right. I don't know that I can be blamed. And it was the 80s.
It was a different time.
It was a different time.
There was a different understanding of these issues.
Right. Or zero understanding of these issues. Oh, my God. Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah,
all right.
It wasn't intentionally racist. It was just
that
racist.
Time. No, that wasn't intentionally racist. None of it's intentionally racist. It's just racist. I'm sure that the well-meaning white gentleman who was playing the Indian in Jamestown or whatever.
Right. He probably loves Native American cultures.
Yeah. Nothing but the best of intentions. He knows how to make a canoe.
Right.
Using the old techniques.
Yes.
He knows how to erect an Indian hut of whatever
Unbelievable.
Great. Get out of those clothes. You are not okay right now. Anyway, someone else wrote into us, also semi-anonymous, signed only as P, the letter P.
Okay.
Hello, Frank, Dan, and sometimes Mark, and very occasionally Jake. I'm writing to thank you all so much for your podcast, especially the discussion in number 244. I'm a 30-something atheist living smack dab in the middle of Tennessee, and as you can imagine, it can be quite lonely and frustrating. I can imagine that, in point of fact. I've only very recently started using the word atheist freely to describe myself to coworkers and acquaintances. And let me tell you, it's not a great way to make new friends in the volunteer state.
Oh, yeah, you're volunteering for something.
Yeah, you're volunteering for. Yeah, exactly. P says, I've written down Dan's quote from that episode. Quote, it feels weird to say quote when I'm quoting me, but quote, the key to not letting them get to you is to own you. It has helped to strengthen my resolve to be an example of what atheism really is in an environment where it's a foreign concept. I can fully own myself and my beliefs. I can show others that non-belief is not a scary thing at all. Again, thank you so much for all that you do for us, especially us poor souls residing in the Bible Belt. Aw, that's nice.
That is nice.
I all you Bible Belters, gosh, we just wish you so much the best.
Yeah.
Because that's just not a fucking easy place to be an atheist.
But how wonderful that he's able to, and he feels...
He or she.
Oh, because it's P. You're right. But this writer feels comfortable enough to be talking about their atheism openly.
Yeah.
Because that's going to inspire someone else.
Yeah.
Like there's someone else that you're going to come in contact with who doesn't really believe and buy all the bullshit.
Right.
And they're going to take inspiration from you.
And the whole reason
the
reason that I read this email is that there may be somebody else who's in a Bible Belt state and just thinking to themselves, I just can't. There's no way. Yeah. Well, here's an example of somebody who does, and it's problematic.
It's hard,
but it's okay.
Yeah.
Own you, baby.
Yeah.
Be you.
Yep.
See, it's the only way you're going to live your life and feel like you own it.
And to live authentically. As much as that's just become a trite thing to say.
But it's not.
It's real.
It feels 1,000,000% better if you're not endangering your life or something.
Oh, yeah. There are situations in which you absolutely should hold back information about yourself. But if you feel good,
if you
and
feel
you feel safe
and I get it. It reflects on your family. It reflects on a lot of things. But it's so worth it. I mean, if it's even remotely possible, you can other family members, if they're grown-ups, they can handle themselves.
Right.
But to be you, honestly and openly, it's a world of difference.
Yep.
All right.
Wonderful.
Do we have another voicemail?
We do have another voicemail. This is Desert Dave. When we were talking, there was a young person who wrote in a few weeks ago, I think, talking about some depression issues and just
and some suicide issues. Yeah.
And we gave our 2 cents.
Our idiot.
We did our best.
We are not therapists,
but to give a little bit of advice, I guess.
Yeah.
But there was something that we failed to mention.
We missed something important,
and that's what Dave is clearing up for us.
Hey, Frank and Dan, it's Desert Dave down in San Antonio. I was just listening to you address the young person who was, I guess they were young, was struggling with the suicide and depression, and I thought that you guys did a really good job, and you made it clear that you weren't professionals, and then you shared some very valuable information and tips with them. I just wanted to ask you if you could get back to them and remind them that there is a thing out there called Secular Therapist Project, and it's a part of the Recovering from Religion organization, I do believe, and they have access to secular therapists that won't try to put religion on the person when they go see them, etc. And it didn't come out in the show. I'm sure you guys know of it, but you can't think of everything when you're going live. So I appreciate you guys, and just wanted to put that out there. So thanks for everything you guys do. Bye.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Desert Dave. That's actually really helpful. I can't believe we missed it because it is something that we're aware of and something that I support 1,000%. That would be seculartherapy.org. It's called the Secular Therapists Project. And yeah, you can visit that. They've made a Herculean effort to find secular therapists all over the country who will sign in, and it anonymously helps you search for a therapist and then connects you to them.
That's fantastic.
So yeah, you're safe. It's super useful. Hopefully they have something in your area. If they don't, they can even find a therapist that's willing to work with you through Skype or through some other means.
Wow.
So really a great resource. And if you are struggling, sometimes therapists will be assholes and start telling you about Jesus, and that's a disturbing
that's the last thing
thing.
You want to hear. Yeah.
So this is a good way to avoid that problem from the outset.
Excellent.
We had some people give us money,
Indeed.
and we have some folks to thank for it. I'm going to start because we had one-time donation from Steve. So thank you so much for that, Steve. That's delightful. And then you have some people, some new patrons. Is that right?
New patrons on Patreon.
Okay.
We have Jenny to thank, Brady, Steven, and Willow.
Awesome.
All 4 of them new patrons this week on Patreon.
Amazing.
So you can also be a patron.
Yes.
Just go to our website.
And we have there's a new incentive if you want.
Yeah, exactly. What we've realized is we're playing ads now.
Right, on our show.
On the show. And we've decided that if, as a nice thank you to the people who are donating on Patreon, you can go to Patreon and go to our page, and there will be a ad-free version of the show up for your consumption.
Right.
If you're a patron.
If you're a patron. So go to Patreon. Go to thankgodimatheist.com. Click on the Patreon button. You can donate. You can just be a one-time per episode donor. Basically, it's just a subscription.
Right.
You donate to us, and then
you set the dollar amount. It's totally up to you.
Yeah, it's up to you how much you want to donate. If you adore us and you have oodles of cash. Hey, take that into consideration.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as little as $1 per episode is totally great, and helps us out a ton.
Yeah.
And then if you want to avail yourself of the ad-free version, you are welcome to do so.
And it's right there. You just sign into Patreon, and it'll be there.
Frank.
Yeah.
Do you floss?
I am a flosser.
You're the type. You strike me as very much the type.
I recently discovered those fuzzy toothpick things. I forget what they're called, but you break one off and you sit there and they go right up against your gum, and they're just fantastic.
They're like pipe cleaners for your gums.
Pipe cleaners for your teeth and gums. And so, but I realized that I wasn't getting, and I kind of did a switch to those, but I didn't get that nice, satisfying, clean between the teeth that floss does.
Yeah,
right, because it was only really addressing the gums and and so I alternate days now.
Okay,
so
I'm gonna cut you off. I don't care about any of that,
Dan. I have very good oral hygiene.
You do. You're very proud of it. But here's the thing. So, I mean, most of our listeners will be aware that there has been a new outcry.
There's a development
because while the dental community has been touting for decades the benefits of flossing, it has recently come to light they don't have the scientific backing to make that claim.
There was never any research.
Or the research that was done was wildly insufficient to be able to call it a scientific claim.
And yet, they've been making the claim. So now we're in this weird post-flossing moment where someone like myself, who I've had moments in my life when I wasn't flossing, and I know the difference in my mouth between the flossing, years and the non-flossing years, right?
Yeah.
I know the difference. My mouth feels better when I floss. I feel like there's less, bleeding. The gums are definitely less inflamed.
I love that you had to whisper bleeding.
Bleeding gums is just an awful concept. It's just horrible. I can handle bleeding elsewhere. Bleeding gums, just the worst. And so, I have my own experience with this thing that has now been scientifically debunked.
Well, has it,
not
though?
debunked. It does. What they've admitted is they don't have scientific proof.
Right, and we'll
That's
get into
true.
that a little bit. Now, I'm not a flosser. It's to my great shame my entire life. I really resonated with the old Mitch Hedberg joke. He's a comedian that passed away a while ago. But he said his buddy came up to him and was like, dude, you have no idea how hard it is to quit smoking. And he was like, yes, I do. It's exactly as hard as it is to start flossing.
But once you get it going, Dan, it's really easy.
It's hard to start. I've tried a number of times. I can't get the habit going.
You just have to go 21 days.
It's like that.
Start a new habit,
like,
Dan.
It's that extra 2 minutes of my life that
It doesn't even take that long.
Oh, well.
It doesn't even take that long.
Here's the other thing. My teeth are incredibly tight together. Every dentist I've ever been to talks about it. So it's a lot harder to get the floss in between each tooth.
Oh, that sounds awful.
It's not pleasant.
I bet these little pokey things would do wonders for the health of your gums.
Maybe. I may not be able to get them in there. They're that tight together. It's like I can barely get floss in there. And so there you go. So it's hard. However,
sounds awful.
But you know what?
So this is
your
good
lack
news
of sympathy is noted. Your lack of sympathy is noted.
You're enjoying this news, aren't you?
Well, no. Here's the thing. I want to so much. Like, I want this to mean I was right and you were wrong and you've been wasting your life.
No.
That's what I want this
because
to
I
mean.
have healthy gums.
Who says I don't have healthy gums?
I don't know, Dan.
I don't have healthy gums.
Yeah, I can see the blood trickling down onto your lip right now.
Just a little bit.
And
it's just this tiniest trickle. No. I have good teeth. It's fine. But here's the thing.
So you admit you don't have good gums? Are they red and inflamed and hurt to the touch?
No. Not at all.
That's bad.
They're
Dan.
receding a little bit, though. That's
They're
not
receding.
nice.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
Everybody's gums recede. But,
Yeah.
But anyway, here's the thing. What can we take from this lack of scientific proof that flossing works?
Well, because we like to say that
we're
people
skeptics.
We're skeptics.
We're supposed to be skeptical,
and we encourage living a life based in reason.
Yeah,
and
honoring science,
all
that stuff. And this is so. I'm what we're trying to do is make the flossing thing an allegory for how we live our whole lives, and that is to say, when something is pointed out, we have to look at what is actually being said, because 1,000 headlines came out that said, "Stop flossing," or like, "You don't have to floss. They've been lying to you this whole time."
As like flossing stocks just plummet.
Right, exactly. Procter and Gamble or whoever is now making nothing suddenly.
Poor people.
I don't know who makes floss. I don't floss. Anyway, but here's the thing. Both your conclusion that it's good for us and my conclusion that we never have to floss again and my vindication are wrong.
Well, I say it's good for me.
Right.
At this point.
Well,
I would have joined in the chorus and said, no, flossing's important before. But now all I can say is, I see a benefit in my own life. But this means that am I now letting people who talk about cleanses and toxins and shit off the hook? Because I'm in the same boat.
Right.
They see a benefit from a stupid fucking cleanse.
They're like,
I know isn't doing anything.
I feel it. I know in my body I can feel
the difference.
Right.
And so I'm fucking livid right now.
Because you can't be.
Because I have to concede that they get to make that choice about their life.
Right. Right. So here's the thing. I'm guessing that flossing is, like, if I were to make a guess, I would guess that flossing actually does have the health benefits that they've been claiming, or at least some of the health benefits that the dental practitioners have been claiming.
Does it prevent heart attacks?
I'm not going there. I'm definitely not going there.
Because I heard that one.
I heard that one too. There's a link between healthy gums and heart disease. Okay, I don't know.
Well, any inflammation in the body is not good for the heart. I mean, that's, I think, what it's supposed to be, right?
I don't know.
But this was sort of the explanation that kind of went in my head, and I just kind of was like, well, I mean,
maybe.
I don't understand it, but I don't want to have a heart attack.
Right. Exactly. Keep flossing. So here's the thing. That's my guess, is that, yes, there's benefit. There's health benefits, gum benefits.
I think it just...
to flossing.
My gums feel better.
It just hasn't been... I don't know. I think it may actually... I mean, I know some people who work in the dental industry.
Yeah.
And they swear that they can see the difference. Like non-flossers, their gums recede faster. They have more problem with gum recession, gum disease, gingivitis. They say, which is just inflammation of the gums.
Right.
It's not. I mean, it's
gingivitis. Yeah.
Yeah. It just sounds scarier than it
awful.
Probably is.
No,
but
it's the worst thing ever.
But they say that they can see a difference. I'll believe them. But all of that is anecdotal. Until it's fucking researched and shown.
I know.
So, like,
what am I gonna do?
That's the point. The point is, science is not perfect.
No.
Science and scientists and people in scientific industries aren't perfect. But the whole point of science, the whole point of the scientific method, is that flaws are eventually uncovered and exposed.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Because there will be flaws, there will be mistakes, there will be bad science done.
Yeah.
Not unlike what happened with the whole anti-vax thing. One doctor publishes a shitty study that is later debunked, and that one was entirely debunked. There's been almost nothing studied as heavily as vaccinations, and the scientific community is unanimous in their support of vaccination.
They fully bunk it.
It is bunked. Yes. It is 1,000% bunked. But yes, the science, the anti-vaxxers, the people who are convinced that it causes autism and all sorts of other problems, are basing that on shitty science.
Yeah.
So there's two things we have to learn here. We have to learn how to look for good science, and we have to learn what science means. Like, if an article comes out and says kale will solve all of your health problems,
right,
and it's based on science,
right,
we have to know how to read that.
Well, yeah,
because science reporting, first of all, ain't science.
Right. Science
reporting is headlines.
Right. And that's all
and
it's
driving
just a different form of clickbait.
Driving traffic to their website.
Yeah.
And they'll paraphrase until it means things that there's no way that scientific study could mean.
Right.
So we have to first watch out for that. Mm-hmm. Then we have to know. We have to look at science, even the scientific, even the peer-reviewed paper. We have to look at with a skeptical eye until it's been studied further, until it's been, confirmed by other scientists, repeated. Mm-hmm. Like, all of this is a vital part of the scientific method.
Right.
And repetition is very rarely done, actually. There's too few scientists out there to do a repetition of studies.
Well, there's no glory in it either.
Right, exactly. Hooray! So. I get to repeat somebody else's thing.
Great.
Right. Huh. So it's a process, people. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't mean that we can just dismiss flossing. It doesn't mean that.
No.
It just means, God damn it, dentists, get your act together. That's what it means.
Yeah, put some money toward this thing. Get a nice little And boy, are they going to.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's going to be some very, very rapidly conducted research into the benefits of flossing.
The problem is you can't rapidly conduct the research because it has to be years and years and years long studies.
It's going to be as fast as they possibly can get it.
Right.
It's already started.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
There have been some studies that have been done that like there was one study where they followed a bunch of kids where a professional came and flossed them every day or something like that.
How awful.
And that
truly awful.
That apparently worked. That apparently had some health impact.
Oh.
So
none of the kids had heart attacks.
Yeah, apparently don't floss wrong. That's part of the thing. You have to floss correctly. Floss like a pro.
Yeah. Interesting.
But
it's nice sawing motion, right? Isn't that what you're supposed to do?
I think it's an up and down. I think it's
you're supposed to just like saw at those gums.
Nope. Nope. Up and down. Up and down. Consult with your dental professional when learning how to floss. Do not because as much as podcasters are the proper source for most of the things in your life, maybe not for how to floss or anything in the whole world. Never listen to a podcaster. Or at least be skeptical. That's the thing. A skeptic is a skeptical mind is a healthy mind. Unless you're too skeptical.
A well-flossed mind.
That's right. If you're using skepticism properly, use as directed. Use only as directed. Because if you're like
once a day, before going to bed,
if you don't let go of the skepticism, if you're skeptical of all of the science, and you won't even believe it when it's like real, then you're
always skeptical.
Then you're in problem town.
Yeah, that's a problem. That would be bad.
Anyway.
Yeah. It'd be that'd be a hard life to lead.
The other thing that this points out is the whole confirmation bias thing. We all need to be wary of confirmation bias.
Yeah, when the next crazy fad diet comes along and it has everything that you love in it.
Right.
And boy, that sounds great to just be eating, bacon and,
Right. Lose weight
all day long.
Just by sugar. Yeah. It's the candy diet. You can't just let it confirm what you already want the truth to be.
Well, it depends on how quickly it gives you the shits after you eat it.
Well,
right? Because if it's just it's a cleanse. It's the candy cleanse.
That's right. And you'll lose all of that tooth weight that's been holding you back. Here's the thing. I would love for it to be true that flossing does nothing. That would just make my life so great. But, the fact that it would make me happier doesn't make it truth.
Right.
And we need to be really careful of that.
Right.
Out there in the world. And go and yell at some people for doing a juice cleanse, apparently.
Yeah.
Like Frank does.
Yeah. Because it's stupid. All right, Dan.
Well, if you have any examples that you want to share of ways that science has been abused or ways that non-science has been declared science or anything like that, you can participate in this conversation. You can write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and see what Mackenzie's up to.
And while on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join.
And notice my absence, if ever I choose to be not there for a little bit.
All right.
Thanks so much to Mackenzie for all of her hard work on that Facebook page.
And thanks to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their music.
Thanks again to donors. If you want to be counted among their membership, please go to thankgodimatheist.com and click on the donor buttons. And thank you, dear listener, for tuning in.
Bye!